I always wait for this timer. There it goes. I'm Harrison Collingwood. No, I don't know why I wait for the timer. But here with my buddy Mark Gillman at I_Barnabas. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We're here to discuss Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. So, this movie takes place well after Halloween 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6 years after Halloween 5. What did you think when you first saw this?
Um, to answer that question, I'm going to say I remember one of the first videos we ever did together. I wasn't the biggest fan of this film, and since me and you have talked about it, and I've listened to a lot of your videos and your thoughts, I've turned into a fan of this movie. It really grew on me. At first, I felt like it was a bit of a mess. And I had listened to a few other people's opinions first, and was I usually skipped over this one, but now it's I just can't imagine skipping over this one anymore. I really enjoy this one for what it is. It's I would say easily the darkest of all the Halloween films.
It is. It's a great fall movie too. Like it has the Danielle Harris was saying this too. It was like the setting, they got it right, and it was well done. I like the fact that they made this because I was literally graduating sixth grade, going out of sixth grade and going into junior high school as this movie was just like told my mom, we gotta go see this. And it's just like this movie it's still dark. It is just, this is the movie with like literally where I expected a seance to happen, if like because it's just, I did not expect the opening of this movie to be, first of all, the last time I guess you could count like an actual voice. There have been 3 voiceovers in the Halloween franchise, and I know some might not count this one, but I do. The kids at the beginning of John's when they're saying that blood, guts, and goblins on Halloween night. That's one for me, and then the next one is Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, but the one after that is H2O. Where you get the voiceover of the guy who's voicing, he it's not Donald Pleasance, but it's Loomis.
Yeah.
And so this was like the second voiceover in the franchise, and I was shocked by that because we hadn't had that in so long. And it was Paul Rudd's Tommy Doyle, and Paul Rudd in this movie is creepy as shit. Like, this is the darkest you'll ever see Paul Rudd. I showed somebody this movie. I showed my son's, when my son had like a person coming in the house to work with him, I lent him this movie and he said, that was dark.
Yeah. It's like, dude, Ant-Man was a goth when he was a kid. When he was a teenager.
What did you think of J.C. Brandy as Jamie Lloyd?
I liked her. I think she did really, really well. And at first I had to make myself let Danielle Harris go because I love Danielle Harris very, very much. But it makes sense because they're jumping 6 years ahead. So, they had to get someone else. But I thought JC was really, really was fantastic in the role that she did. And by the way, I just wanted to thank you for, that was such a treat getting one of the writers from this movie on your channel. I loved that video. Thank you so much. That was such a treat. It was
you're welcome. I just reached out to him. I said, Mr. Ferens, I'd like to interview you, and he was really nice. Like, obviously, you could tell he was a sweetheart. It was really nice to talk to him. And I'll say this: I was, when he said about the snow, I was shocked. Like, I was like stunned because he said they had to do like indoor stuff and they had to wait out the weather. They had to fight the weather, and he was talking about one thing I was shocked about too. With that was he was saying originally he wanted Christopher Lee for the Man in Black. I was like for Terrence Wynn, I was shocked. I did not know that. And I could see why, because he said why, and I kind of already knew why, because like Christopher Lee was originally offered the role as Sam Loomis. I mean, so was Peter Cushing. They both turned Carpenter down, and they ended up going with Mitchell Ryan. I think Mitchell Ryan did a great job, but that was really interesting to hear him say that. Now, let me ask you this: Danielle Harris has said she wants to come back to the Halloween franchise, and she wants to be Jamie Lloyd again. So, do you think that's possible?
I could think I would think that could be possible. I don't know if she would be Laurie's daughter, but hey, I think anytime that Danielle Harris wants to return to Halloween, even though I personally wasn't a fan of the Rob Zombie vision of Halloween, I think it's a good thing.
It's funny. I actually had to tell somebody who was younger than me who was watching that movie in theaters. As afterwards, they said, "Where's that one? Wasn't that one girl been in a Halloween movie?" I said, "Yeah, she was in Halloween 4 and 5. That's the girl who played Jamie Lloyd." And they're like, they were shocked.
Yeah.
So it's like, people grow up quick.
Yeah, they do. Yep, they do.
I'll say this. To me, if they do go with that choice, if whoever takes over Halloween next says, okay, let's do this with Danielle Harris. As much as I love the movie we're talking about now, that we're going to be talking about, I think if they honestly bring her back and they say, okay, we want to resurrect Jamie Lloyd, they cannot include this movie. They would have to retcon it back to 5.
Yeah.
And I'll pitch to you what I think if they do that, what they should do. But with this movie, you have J.C. Brandy playing Danielle Harris's character that she played Jamie Lloyd, and they're wheeling her down the hall. You got these guys who are all dressed up, and she's having a baby. It's like, did you think this was a cult at first?
I didn't know what to think at first, to be honest with you, because I think, all right, okay, this had never, what they did here, like opening up Halloween like this, had never been done before. I had no idea where we were, what was going on. This seemed like one of the most like sinister openings of not just a Halloween film, but anything that I'd seen. I mean, this place was dark. It was moody as all get out. And, I mean, you saw like all these candles and these people dressed in robes. Then you see a woman giving birth and they're wanting to take the baby. And it's just like, what is this? So, I was definitely drawn in and glued in to what was going on, because this did not feel like any of the previous 5 we had seen before.
I think what was really weird too was she's going, he's coming. I'm thinking, is she meaning the baby or Michael?
Right.
Like, I keep looking, like when they're wheeling her down the hall and then they have her in the delivery room, I'm like looking over the shoulder of the doctors waiting for like someone to get stabbed and just take their head off. No, that doesn't happen. Like, I think that's what's like one of the most weirdest things. You're right. It's so dark because you don't know where you are with her. And, once the nurse, who's one of the, now, to me, I don't think the nurse was a direct cult member. She's just somebody the cult chose.
Oh yeah,
You know,
I'm sure she was probably there against her will.
right? That helped. That was sort of help delivering the baby, and she gets the baby, and she said, "Take your baby and go now."
Yeah.
And like she doesn't go with her, and Michael shows up, and that's Michael's first victim,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, it's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know you and I are fans of this. I kind of got a bit of a Silent Hill vibe from it the first time I saw it, because I knew Silent Hill before I knew Halloween 6. So, and maybe I'm reading a little too much into it, but the nurse gave me a little bit of a Lisa Garland vibe, where she was being held there against her will by Dr. Kaufman. I kind of got the same feeling from this nurse, that she did not want to be there, but she didn't really have much of a choice.
I think that's the thing with the cult of Thorn members. Not all are necessarily members. Some are taken at force and
Mhm.
being used in the cult against their will. And that's something you get right away with this movie too. That once you know of the cult, you're going, oh, okay, that lady was sort of doing this against her own will. She
Mhm.
didn't necessarily want to do it. They either had a hold over her or they had something on her to make her help. Or maybe they just abducted her and made her help. Who knows?
Yeah.
And that's what's really like, again, like you said, it's very dark. It's,
Hmm.
like you said, Silent Hill esque.
Hmm.
I will say this, that if she, to me, she should have just got the hell out of there with her. But
Yeah.
I think she just, for whatever reason, she just felt she couldn't. I don't
Yeah.
know why. Like, because when Michael kills her, it's like, oh wow, she did not make it. Like, I wasn't. When you see Michael come, like you see the mask in the darkness, it's
Mhm.
like, oh god,
Yeah.
oh turn around for
Yeah.
the love of God. What did you think of the first kill of this movie?
Oh, that was gruesome. I mean, just the way he, just like rammed her head into the hook that was sticking out from the wall, and just left her hanging there. That was pretty gruesome.
Yeah,
The,
but I like how he's just like, does the head tilt like a little bit.
Mhm.
This Michael Myers is like really like hefty looking. So
Yeah.
he's probably like you and I said, he's like the linebacker Michael
Hmm.
Myers.
Yeah.
But he has his own unique style too. I like the way he walks in this movie.
Hmm.
Like and I love the one of my favorite scenes in this movie is actually early on when he's down in the bus station, the one of the things, and he's opening the stalls. Now
Hmm.
they don't show it through the mask, but they sort of do give up like a not a complete POV point of view, but a semi point of view. I do sort of wish they would have did this through the mask
Yeah.
because it's even though they don't though, it's creepy.
Hmm.
Like you're sort of like, oh god, did she get out? Like you're wondering.
Hmm.
Like what did you think of that?
Uh, it was tense. I agree. I like the first person view of it, and Michael, the way he walks, um, he's very different in this, and you can notice a difference in the mask. He looks like, before there was a blank look to it. It was creepy, but there's just a blank look to the mask, and in this one, it looks like he is angry.
Yeah.
He looks and moves like someone that is angry, and um, he's got a lot more, just a lot more force in his walk. You can tell he's moving like someone that's extremely angry, and he's moving faster. He's more vicious and brutal in this. You can tell he's not holding back.
Yeah, like you said, this movie is really like dark, but it's really the violence is intense in it too.
Yeah.
And each little that's what's interesting. Like each little moment sort of is building to like a violent kill, and there are a good bit of them in this movie,
Hmm.
which I love it for. It doesn't pull its punches.
No.
That's why I appreciate it like so much. Like I don't want you to put when people start and this is sort of where I get upset when people start complaining about killing fictional things like fictional kids or fictional firefighters. It's like, get over it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a movie.
Yeah.
But, and I think really horror gets this in the teeth. But like, if it happened anywhere in like a TV show that involved firefighters, oh, that's part of the story. It's
Yeah.
like, that's a part of the story here too, just in a different way. Or they did that with Kills. I'm sure you've heard. But
about the firemen, and it's usually just, and this has gone all the way back to Dark Shadows. Like a lot of these extremist groups that are complaining and want to make something out of nothing, and trying to put like subtext where there is none.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like he's a fictional character.
Mm-hmm. Right. There's no ill will towards firefighters and what they do, and from the filmmakers. So
I saw somebody dressed up as Michael Myers at Halloween time. I said, Michael. And they looked at me and said, good job with this firefighters, buddy. And no one said shit to me.
Nice.
People just, I'm like, what? What? It's good. But I'm going to hell. But Mitchell Ryan plays Dr. Terrence Wynn in this movie. He meets, we hear about Dr. Loomis over the radio, actually, through where Jamie Lloyd says, Dr. What happened to Dr. Loomis? They say, what happened to Dr. Loomis? Is he dead? And Dr. Loomis says, no, I'm just very much retired.
Yeah. And I love that moment when he's laughing. He's like, no, not dead.
Yeah, it's sort of surreal that this is Donald Pleasance's last Halloween.
Yeah, it is.
But it marks it really. I like what they do. They don't have too much of him. They just have enough of him, and I love that because they didn't just rely on Donald Pleasance in this movie. And I think they could have. That's something they could have did and don't. And they rely on all their other characters, Kara, Tommy, Danny. And really, what did you think of Kara Strode?
I thought Kara was a fantastic character. I think that it's frustrating as well, because I think she had my favorite character as far as, the good ones, the good guys in the Halloween franchise is Jamie Lloyd.
Yeah.
I love Jamie Lloyd, and I think Kara had so much potential, and it's a shame that they didn't get to tap into that more and have more sequels with her. I thought she was an interesting character, that she wasn't a virginal person like most of the final girls are. She didn't mark off anything on that checklist, to be a final girl. She had a bit of a wild side in her past. She had, a past that she was trying to fix, and, she was trying to raise a kid. So, I mean, she was very, very different, and I liked her. You wanted good things to happen to her, and for her to get out of the house that she was in, but she was forced to stay there. So I loved Kara. I thought she was very down to earth and very relatable.
She's really. I was telling Daniel Farrens this, that because I asked him, is she, was she domestically abused? And he's like, yes. And it's like, to know that her father is a person who, puts his face, not just probably hit his daughter, probably did hit his wife at some point too.
Oh yeah.
It adds a whole nother sense of weight of, like he was saying this, that the weight of the world was on her shoulders, and it was.
Yeah.
I think to have like a domestic abuse, like live under a home that you're suffering domestic abuse from, and to deal with a serial killer.
Yeah.
It's just like, holy shit.
Yeah, you can't catch a break. But I mean, she was very, very relatable, especially to victims, to people that are victims of domestic abuse. Yeah. She's someone that you can kind of imprint on. And excuse me, she was, more often than not, that is the case. A lot of people that are victims of domestic abuse are stuck there and they can't necessarily get out. They don't have the means to get out. So she was very, very relatable. She was such a great character. I really enjoyed Kara a lot.
I think that too with Danny Strode, and you hear the man, I'm like, kill for me, Danny.
Mhm.
That was some creepy shit.
Yeah, it was. It was. And it was such a huge misdirect that Halloween 6 does. And I love this. You know, John Strode, Kara's father, is like the most vile type of person living on earth. I mean, he's an alcoholic. He's horrible to his kids, to his wife. He's abusive. Um, he's just, you know, and he doesn't hold back his hatred for kids and, you know, his own grandson. And, um, but yet he's not the villain in this movie. It's the nice people like the babysitter across the street, the nice old lady, and all these other people. There's such a huge misdirect. You think that he's going to be, you know, one of the big bads in the film, but it's all these nice people like Dr. Wynn and everybody else. They're the true villains in this story. And it's such a good twist. I love this about the Cult of Thorn.
It it sort of pulls the trick that Once Upon a Time in the West pulls. That
Mhm.
it doesn't necessarily do the all the good guys are villains, but
Mhm.
it gives you that these normal people are villains.
Mhm.
Your doctors, the neighbor across the street, like you're saying, and
Mhm.
here's this abusive father who you think, okay, he's an antagonist, which he is.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's not, like you said, he's not the biggest threat in the room either.
Right.
And I think it's really it's what one of the most interesting things too is when Danny pulls the knife at him and Kara
Mhm.
looks down and it's like she's like, oh shit, like no, don't like
Mhm.
Danny. I'm like, just fucking do it.
Yeah, that's what I was like. You're kind of like, I don't know. It's almost like Darth Vader that you're rooting for him to kill somebody. It's like, yes, please get rid of him. I hate this guy. Yeah, go ahead and do it, Danny, but don't do it too because you're a little kid and you're a cute little kid. So yeah, it's just like there's some conflict there for sure.
There really is, but I think like you and I have talked about, like if they have him do that, there's no getting the character back. You know, like
No, there's no redemption. Absolutely not.
like it's like it doesn't matter if it's an abusive dad because
Mhm.
it's like you're still killing somebody.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, like that the character of Danny Schroeder is just really you have a lot of dark characters. We know Terrence Wynn, the Man in Black, Tommy Doyle, who's spying on his neighbor.
Hmm.
I love how Kara closes her drapes because she thinks, oh, he's just peeping Tom. But
Hmm.
it's like, no, he's just watching your house because you live in the Myers house.
Hmm.
It took a Strode to buy the Myers house. That's all you need to know in life.
Hmm. Yes.
I like something you said too. We were talking about kills. You said, you know, the Lori's father suckered somebody into buying that house.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Uh, uh, I'm-
They
uh,
probably
uh,
they probably like threw in a case of beer, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll buy it." So that's probably all it took to get him hooked.
I told my wife, I said, me and Mark Gillman are the people standing outside the Myers house trying to ward people off. Like, no, buy the house down the street, not this one.
Yeah, yep.
Ignore that guy right there. But
Mhm.
it's like there are just places in horror like you just should not go. Like I've talked about Widow's
Mhm.
Hill, you
Camp
know,
Lake, yeah.
and Crystal Lake, the Myers house, Springwood. It's
Mhm.
like just don't go to these places and you will live. But
Right.
people keep going back, and
Hmm.
it's like the fact that he has this and he does not tell them, like he doesn't like say shit to them that this is like the
Yeah.
house where like the murders happen. I think I think Kara sort of suspects that it's the Myers house, or sort of knows, but she's just sort of like, okay, we're living here, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But, I mean, because she can't live anywhere else, she's broke,
Mm-hmm.
and she's going through college.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the fact that I like how Danny dresses as his Uncle Tim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's sweet.
It's like, Tim's an interesting character because I like how he's like, we live in a Myers house, huh? What?
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Yeah,
just,
that was an awful way to find out. So yeah,
it,
for sure.
it's like, here's your girlfriend. She's telling you, oh yeah, like she says it in front of everybody. Well, Tim's family lives in a Myers house. He's like, what?
Yeah.
And the radio DJ's like, you live in the house of the most notorious mass murderer in this town. Says, yeah, house has great wood.
Yeah.
You can tell that he's like, I don't want to go home now.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
No, I don't blame him either. But
No, me neither.
his
Abs-
beautiful girlfriend coaxing him back, right? To go
mhm.
back.
Yeah.
What did you think of Kara? Here's Kara being this college student, so she knows what the mark of Thorn is.
Hmm.
And I found that an interesting dynamic. It's not just Tommy who's sort of looking up, who knows information. You have Kara that knows things too. What did you think of that?
I thought that was cool that, where she kept finding those drawings that little Danny had done of the thorn. And, it was something that was piquing her interest. I mean, it's like, what is this thing? What is this symbol that he keeps drawing over and over? What does it mean? So I mean, it definitely added a bit of a mystery box to it. But I mean, the thorn symbol is simple, but it looks evil as can be. So I like the look of it. It's simple, but it's effective for me.
That's something I sort of thought they were going to play with this new trilogy, because
Hmm.
with Michael looking out the window, I thought they were going to have Michael, when Michael looks out the window, he's because the thorn's a constellation,
Right.
that he saw the thorn symbol, the thorn constellation. But instead of how I thought they were going to explain it, I thought they would change it where instead of he kills his family, he just kills on Halloween because of the symbol,
Hmm.
which would be still fucking evil as hell. It's like, holy,
Yeah. Well,
but
we don't know. It might be.
it
So
might
we
be.
don't know.
I still love that picture of the tarot card.
Yeah. Same.
It's like, I need a seance now in Halloween ends. There needs to be, I need a table, and just get David Selby, get whoever you can to just sit at
Hmm.
that table with
Yeah. Let's get Nancy, Laura, David Selby, all of them.
you. Now,
Let's have.
now, now, if they, I swear to God, if they do this and they go and get Alexandra, I'd pop huge.
Yeah.
Like, you got me. I'm the, oh, you got me. But I think what's really interesting too is with the fact, because the producer's cut, you get the sense that there's more corruption
Hmm.
going on with the cops even too. With the theatrical cut, it's sort of, I think once you realize what the Wynn's turn is so well done. Like, I love how like earlier on, Tommy tells her, like, once he like meets her, like at the Myers house, and he's holding the baby, and he's sitting with Danny, and then they go over to his house, and he goes, Kara, whatever you do, don't go over to that house. Don't go over to your house. You
Hmm.
know.
Right.
Because by this time, like Kim Darby's character, Deborah Strode, has she got taken care of.
Hmm.
What did you think of her death, Deborah Strode's death?
That was, oh man, where she got hacked with the
Axe.
yeah, I was going to say he got her with an axe, and then it looked like he stuffed her in a washing machine or did something with it. Wasn't her bloody clothes like in the washing machine?
Yeah, it's weird. Her bloody clothes are in the washing machine.
But she's not.
But I want to say it's not, it might not be her clothes, it might be the lover's clothes. And
Mhm.
because she's hanging upside down.
Yeah,
Like when he, and
right.
she's still clothed. So I'm sort of wondering if that's the case. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Which, because it's creepy, because like the washer's gone, it's shaking, and
Hmm.
I love John Schroeder's like, it must be the boogeyman. It's like, yeah, yeah, it really is, dude.
Yeah, it is, dude. Yeah, and I can't wait to see him get you.
It's like, go down to the basement, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But he, I love how he's like too, when he comes home, he hits like the garbage can. He's like, woohoo! He's like, I think he's drunk too. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, very much.
And he's like, hello. He's like, ah, shit, they really left.
Yeah. He's like, oh well. And he's like, thanks for the dinner, Deborah, or something like that. Yeah, he's just absolute slime ball.
Yes. Yeah, but I think her body's like hanging upside down because it falls out. It like falls down.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I love, like, what's your favorite scene in Halloween 6?
My favorite scene in Halloween 6. Um, I would probably say I've got a couple. Um, I loved when Kara was watching Tim and his girlfriend getting killed through the telescope,
Yeah.
and um, I thought that was an interesting way to to watch the murder. And I loved just the hallway stuff at the end, when Michael was just going absolutely crazy and killing all the members of Corn, the Cult of Thorn.
It's okay to mess up on this podcast. You know that.
That's right. Yeah, the Cult of Corn. Oh dear. They're the worst. But no, the Cult of Thorn, when he was going crazy and killing all of them, that was wild.
It was like, especially with the lights going on and off, and like it's
Yes.
like, oh, and the way they showed that too, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the way the color scheme was, and I'm colorblind, but I loved it. It seemed like it was a deep dark blue filter that they used on the lighting and everything, and it just really gave it a good moody vibe when he was just going to town like never before.
When they were, when she's like after she watches her friend be murdered, and then she sees her son go across the Myers house, and
Hmm.
then she has to go over to him. What were your thoughts?
Oh, I just thought, I mean, you want to say don't do it, but I mean that's a kid, and that's where this was so great because normally when we have a quote unquote final girl, they're virginal, they don't have a kid, but she does. So it's just like normally you say for the girl, don't go over there, don't do it, don't go, but here's something new in the mix. Her son's going, so she has to go get him. And then it's like an oh crap, I mean, he's running in there. And like you're already hearing the man in black saying, kill for me. So there's something that's drawing him over there.
Yeah, I think
So it's like, what are they going to walk into?
right. That's sort of like I was thought where the man in black would be too, was in the Myers house,
Hmm.
and then this like Michael's in there. I think this. I really think the cult is avoiding Michael at all cost, because
Oh yeah,
like they're like, if hey, if we can have Michael kill other people, who cares?
yeah,
But like them not being like near him was interesting. Like the most they're near him was when they get killed.
hmm
and it's like they die like violently, like you said. But my favorite scenes is when she gets in that house and literally like she gets her son and Michael's like comes out of the darkness and he's like then there's this like big sequence there's this nice sequence how she knocks him down the steps and
Mm-hmm.
they go down the steps and she hits him again. They go after her and they mimic the 1978 scene of they're going across the street and Michael's giving chase. That's my favorite scene because it's just
Yeah.
like holy shit.
Yes.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like to me that's like the moment. It's like get to the house, get to the house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is the moment where you need someone to just run and drop kick Michael to the ground.
Yes.
It ain't
Yeah.
gonna
Or we
happen.
need Freddie Harris to run in and
Yeah,
help out.
you need someone to spare Michael or something, but
Exactly.
he,
But I one of the things that I really loved in that moment when they were in the house and you see the turn of Dr. Wynn,
yeah,
you can see, and this is probably um, my favorite line in the movie, and it's when Dr. Loomis says, "All this time, I thought Michael was the monster, but it's you."
yeah,
And it kind of lets you know the Cult of Thorn thought they had Michael under control, and that's why they were trying not to interfere because I guess they thought they were controlling him and doing their own thing. But I guess he felt sorry for Michael and felt pity for him in that moment, thinking where he all these years he had spent trying to help him, and he thought that Michael was the monster, but it was Dr. Wynn.
yeah. Loomis, I think Loomis. That's something Loomis isn't sure of. It's like, do they have control of Michael? But
Yeah.
once that question gets answered, like at the hospital, it's like, oh, like
Yeah.
Jesus, like he just goes in there and takes care of them easily.
Hmm.
And I'll say that's like when they're in the like you said when they're in Wynn's uh office and
Hmm.
Loomis is pointing the gun at him and they have every opportunity to kill Loomis and they don't because they want him to join him and
Hmm.
like, he wants no part of him, which I love.
Hmm.
You know, it's there's so many great moments that like you said once you see. I love how Mitchell Ryan looks up and he smirks and he smiles. It's like, oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, this is I mean, and it's great because Loomis all his life has been trying to you know trying to control Michael himself, keep him locked away, keep him restrained, and manipulating when he has to go appear before the judge, like he told um, the nurse Marion, um, give him Thorazine and keep him drugged up because it's like all his life he had been trying to keep Michael contained and controlled himself. Well, here was his opportunity to try to do that, and they were offering it to him, but he knew better than to accept their offer.
Yeah, I think something that the cult do too so well is they keep trying to not just force members but recruit members. Like they
Yeah.
to me, if they had Michael under control, they're not just trying to take Jamie's baby, they're trying to turn Danny too.
Mhm.
And I think that's what's interesting about six as well. It's like that's sort of what gave me the hint of okay, they don't really have control of him because if you had control over somebody that dangerous, you
Mhm.
would to me you would not be recruiting this person that person.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like and you might say, well, the more the merrier, but to me, it's like there's nobody more dangerous than Michael Myers.
Right.
You know,
Exactly. And you know what? To jump on what you were saying, this is the first movie that really shows. I mean, you in all the other ones, you see that Michael is always drawn to Haddonfield. This one really shows Haddonfield as a villain.
yeah,
That there's something wrong and seriously messed up with this town, and you kind of see what has been going on. This movie kind of gives it an explanation and a reason of why Michael keeps coming back to Haddonfield, and that there's so many people here that are not what they seem.
That's something. That's something too. I feel this new trilogy hasn't done.
Mm-hmm.
Where in John's too, and Danielle Harris was saying this too, and I agree. If you watch John's original, Laurie says about, "Oh, I thought you outgrew superstition." She's talking about the boogeyman. Well, Tommy talks about the boogeyman too. So there's this feel around people around town of, okay, they believe in the boogeyman, but they're not exactly saying why. So it's like, what's going on in this town that they're really superstitious about this figure? That, like, even if it's like Tommy goes, Lori, what's the boogeyman? And it's like, oh, the boogeyman. She says the boogeyman's not real, but here's this woman that's been looking over her shoulder the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, okay, what the hell's going on in this town? And it's not just Michael stalking her. You sort of get the sense of this when, with Tommy too, when they're teasing him about the boogeyman, that he's like, no, but it's like the kids are like even teasing, and it's like, okay, so it's not just Lori who knows about the boogeyman. The kids know about it, and how long has this been going on? And you sort of wonder, well, did Michael hear this? Did Michael hear this like somewhere, like, oh, the boogeyman, and then he just became it? It's like, who knows? Who knows? I think that's something, like you said, 6 really takes advantage of in making Haddonfield the villain of its story, and really does a great job. What did you think of what was your favorite kill? Sorry.
Oh, my favorite kill. Ooh, goodness. Oh, that's hard because there were so many in this one. I would have to say my most satisfying is when John finally gets it, because I hated him so much. But I don't know. I would say probably Tim's. I mean, to be dragged out of the shower like that was, like, that's a very private place, and you think you're all alone, and to have that space invaded, and he was just dragged brutally out of the shower through the broken glass, and that was a brutal kill.
It was like just like how he's like grabbing him, like, it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like, the most satisfying one is John, like the exploding head of John Tate. Like, if I when I had that on VHS, I would rewind that scene so many times. My mom yelled at me for it. But I think my favorite kill in this movie is, it's early on. Well, I have two. One is when Jamie Lloyd's still in the guy's truck, and she's like, come on, and Michael just snaps his neck right off.
Yeah.
And really, Jamie Lloyd's death is really gruesome too. When
yes, it is.
Slammed on the farm equipment and he turns it on. It's like,
yeah.
Holy shit. That's, to me, Jamie Lloyd's death is my favorite in this movie.
Yeah, because he's shoved her onto this farm equipment, and she's begging and pleading already, and he has a moment to think, and then he flicks the switch on and just makes it, and just like chops her up, and he has a moment to think and decide whether or not he's going to go through with this or not, and he just turns the equipment on, and it chops her up inside. So yeah, that was pretty savage. And in this movie, Michael is more primal and animalistic than anything. He is so savage and primal in this movie. Like he's never been before.
I think you see a touch of that in 5, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
A bit. Like,
Yeah.
where 5's the revenge, and you do
Mm-hmm.
sort of see. Now, Tina's asshole boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's like, thank God. But like when he kills like Sammy in the barn and shit, it's like, oh God. It's
Yeah.
like it's brutal. It's like with a sickle of all things.
Mm-hmm.
And then with six, I think six even turns it up even more, like you're saying,
Yeah.
the animalistic of it.
Mm-hmm.
And really something you touched upon too, the kill of the Thorn members. It's like, yeah, yeah, you fucked with the wrong person.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
I like,
Michael has no restraint in 6. There's a little bit in 5. You can see that it's, definitely dwindling down, but there is no restraint any at all in this movie.
I like how when the cult Thorn members running, he's running and he's like locked behind the bars, and Michael
Uh-huh.
just takes his head and bam, bam, bam,
Yeah.
and it knocks it, and it's like, holy shit, yeah.
Yes.
And it's brutal. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
watched this today. I'm probably gonna watch it again tomorrow. But I mean, it's like Jesus Christ. It's like, yeah. Could you just come on, Michael? It's like you've killed enough people right now. No.
Mm-hmm. No.
Is there? What's the? Oh, sorry. What is there? What's your? Now they only play the Halloween theme 4 times in this movie. What did you think of that?
Um, it was definitely different, like with the electric guitar. But I liked that they put a lot of the classic stuff in there, and it sounded, it had a good mix of the new and the original.
Mm.
It was a good mix of both, I thought.
Yeah, I see. I don't make a. I've never made a big deal about the Halloween scores playing, but I like the fact that they tone it back and more rely on their story and their characters with this. They don't rely on their score, but the score's there.
Yeah,
They cue it right. I love when Michael's chasing her in the van. You start hearing it, and it's like, oh shit.
yeah, yeah.
It's like, Jesus. I'm gonna give you my pitch here for how to bring Jamie Lloyd back.
Hmm.
So, to me, they'd have to retcon this back to 5 because 6. Like I can't. You and I have talked about how in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, mass hypnosis just made no, like, really,
Yeah,
I I think if you try to tell an audience that wasn't Jamie Lloyd in 6, it's gonna be a hard pill to swallow.
hmm, I think so too.
So to me, go back to 5, and you wouldn't have to do much. Just keep the jail explosion. But when she goes in, the movie just cuts off. I would do that now instead of when you go back, have because of there was an explosion, have the roof cave in on her and it knocks her out cold. Doesn't kill her, but it puts her in a coma. And bring it to I don't think you could take it all the way to 2022. That would be too much.
Yeah,
But like take it to like a reasonable one like 2007 or 2008 and have her wake up.
hmm,
And now what happened to the cult on the other end? Well, let's see. Now this is the one thing I want you to. Michael kills them after he escapes. Like
hmm,
when he gets out, he just murders the shit out of them there in the parking lot.
hmm,
And the other cult members are like looking for him
hmm.
because it's like, hey, he killed us. We tried to
Yeah,
help that son of a bitch, and he killed us.
hmm,
And that's sort of the sinister part of this. Like they have her, and yeah, they're taking care of her, but they're more hoping he'll just show up one day.
hmm.
That's I think that's something you could play with. Again, I don't know if they'll do this, but
Yeah,
you know, I think if they're going to do something like this, they need to think about, okay, can we really acknowledge certain, like, to me, I love 6, but you can't acknowledge a movie where a character clearly dies.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I just think that would be, again, that's just, I wouldn't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does Michael get it? How does Michael not know that's not his niece? You know?
Yeah. Right.
It's,
I understand that. And, I would even think that possibly, if they were going to do that, that a Jamie Lloyd miniseries would even be okay.
yeah.
I would be open to that. But, this Halloween 6, I think, is sort of like the House of Dark Shadows. What House of Dark Shadows was to the show, what, this movie is to the rest of the Halloween series. It's, the most like dark story of Halloween that you can get. And I love it ties all 6 movies together, with the exception of 3. Um, I think it does a good job of tying them all together.
Yeah, it really does.
Mm-hmm.
They're wrapping up basically 4 and 5. And
Mm-hmm.
you've got 1 and 2 in there as well. And it does a really great job of doing it, like you said. I love the fact that I think without Donald Pleasance, I think these movies would have lost a little bit of something.
Mm-hmm.
But their characters overall, their new characters are interesting. They're likable. Tina's really likable in 5 to me, and I
Mm-hmm.
know to you as well. And the 6 had a lot of likable characters: Danny, Kara, freaking Tim. Even his,
Yeah.
Tim, Tim's girlfriend's death was brutal as shit.
Yeah, it was. The only thing I could have done without 6 was the whole Barry Sims thing. That's my only complaint about 6, which I know he has his fans, but um, I wasn't crazy about him. I'm not a fan of Howard Stern, so I didn't really care much for his character, but I mean his death was good.
I was just gonna say, like, you know how many times, like, in the morning, I heard Howard Stern on the fucking,
Oh yeah.
like,
Mm.
leading into this movie, and I'm thinking, that's what I thought too. Like, is Barry Sims supposed to be Howard Stern?
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's what they're going for. I'm like, but
Hmm.
here's what I find strange about his character. They send him there by himself. I
Yeah.
was always under the assumption other people were with him, but it's like, no, you don't see anybody, you just see him. It's
Yeah.
weird. Like, that's what I've always found weird about the character. And that's something I'm gonna go back and look at again tomorrow. Like,
Well,
wait a
yeah.
second.
Do that.
It's like, because he calls his producer on the phone. I'm thinking, well, wait a second, who helped you set up the stage? Who did all the, like, who did all the setup stuff? Like,
Hmm.
it's like, but it's really, I think that's the most strange thing I find about the character. It's like, his
Hmm.
death is fucking awesome.
Yes, it is.
It's like
Yeah.
Michael,
Loved it.
bam, bam.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Is there anything you want to add?
Um. Yeah, I'd say definitely go watch this movie. Forget what the naysayers say. Don't do like I did and just listen to, read some negative reviews and just let it keep you from watching the movie. I think they do a good job of tying all the 6 together. Um, and I think they told a pretty good story. Um, it's very sinister, it's very dark. It's it it's pretty terrifying. It's a pretty terrifying movie. It'll keep you on the edge.
You know who they needed to live next door? You know who the Strodes needed to live next door to him is Mrs. Johnson.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I
she would
seen
have come
I
after with
seen
her
your
feather duster.
I seen your kid not picking up their room. Who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, let me in. I'm going to clean your house. They'd be
Mhm.
like, they'd be like, That would be the one person if John Strode went to SmackDown, she'd just like backhand him like, bitch.
Oh yeah, she wouldn't take that. Miss Johnson would not take up to, would not take anything from him.
She'd pull out her 45 and cap his ass and then clean up
Oh
the
yeah.
blood.
Yeah, I've always had a sneaking suspicion she had one hidden like somewhere in that apron.
She probably does.
Yeah. Which I don't blame her, and it probably has silver bullets in it too.
Yeah. Those are kept on the right side of the pocket too.
Yeah. Exactly. So, are you going to watch? So, we're going to watch the Halloween Ends trailer tomorrow, the final trailer, and yeah, I'm just really all excited about Halloween. This is my favorite season.
I'm gonna watch the teaser and then the theatrical one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't watched one, so I'll have to watch one then the other.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, again, when I saw the picture of the tarot card, I'm thinking, oh, they're using tarot cards, dark shadows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. So, is there anyone that you're hoping to see make a cameo or something like an Easter egg that you're hoping for?
Oh God. Well, William Shatner won't. I mean, he's pretty steadfast on that one. He's
right.
Said no. I would like for that to happen so Michael could kill his ass. But no. Cameo
or Easter egg, something that you would like to see.
That's the thing. There's been so many of those in these. What I would love for them to do, because we've seen a lot of Laurie. I think I would love for them to just take Allison and make this her movie most of all, because I feel that's something they should have did in 2018. That they should have given her more of an opportunity than what she got, and I think that's the one thing I don't get is they hire this 24-year-old actress in 2018 and they don't do a lot. They do some things with her, but they don't do, like, to me, you want to get an audience behind a female character, we'll just have Michael Myers stalk the shit out of them. Because once you realize this violent son of a bitch is watching a woman, it's like, oh shit. Like it's terror. It's fucking because you want to help her and you can't.
Yeah.
Like it's like just run, just keep going. But I hope that they do a lot more. That this is more her story than it is.
Yeah.
Rhodes. Don't get me wrong. I love Jamie Lee Curtis, but she's like there's. I don't know how much more over they want the character of Laurie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's something. I'll tell you a cameo I do want to see, and I've mentioned this. Find a way to put John Carpenter in this movie.
Oh, that would be good.
Like, find a way to get John Carpenter. I don't think. Here's the thing. I don't think he would do it, but if you can get like 10 seconds of him in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't have to be something big or obvious. Just have him on the phone with somebody, or like he did in the original. Have him play Paul.
Yeah.
Why not? He voiced the character. So I know it won't happen. You know what I mean? I get this. It won't. But I would love to just because and here's why. How many times did we see the late great Stan Lee in the Marvel movie?
Oh yeah.
Just one time have John Carpenter appear on camera in these movies as a character, obviously. Do I think that'll happen? No, but that's something I would love to see. What would you like to see?
Now you made me kind of change my answer a little bit. That sounds great. I mean, he is so much, not just for writing and directing the first film, as the composer.
Yeah.
the theme and the music is just as big as anything else. And one thing I loved going back to Star Wars, in the Rise of Skywalker, John Williams was on screen for like 2 or 3 seconds as a character in a bar. And that's the only time he has ever been on camera in a film that he's composed. And, it was so cool getting to see him on screen. And I would love, because Halloween is almost as old as Star Wars. It's only 1 year younger.
Yeah.
And that would be so cool to see John Carpenter, even if it was just for a second, that you could look and say, oh, that's him. And then, that's it. But I would love to see Tom Atkins as a doctor or something in this movie. Bring Tom Atkins in for just a few seconds at least.
Yeah, here, I don't know what I keep now. I don't take this with a grain of salt, or pinch of salt. I heard Allison's supposed to be a nurse in this. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Have Tom Atkins be the doctor she works with.
Oh man, he would definitely be a dirty old man. But I love Tom Atkins. I mean, and I looked at him yesterday on IMDb. He's almost 90 years old, and he's still working. He's still acting. Yep. So yeah, get him on the movie. So I would love to see him show up in the hospital.
I think that, again, it would be fun to see Tom like on screen in a Halloween movie again, because the only one he's been in is Season of the Witch.
Yeah,
but it's such a great film. To not have Tom in a movie that involves Michael Myers. Like, you could, again, we're shooting for the stars with our cameo. Now, my fantasy, my fantasy of John Carpenter on screen would be have it like where Allison and Michael are fighting on a major highway or something. And this 18-wheeler runs Michael over and crushes his ass, and it slams on the brakes, and it just misses her. And the driver gets out, and the driver's John Carpenter. And here it's the Pork Chop Express, and the person showing him how to drive the car is Kurt Russell's character from Big Trouble in Little Chinatown. I told you there was someone in the middle of the road. No, you didn't. And they're arguing, and then they get back. See, that won't happen because it's too silly. But if they like offer John Carpenter whatever to get in front of the camera.
Yeah,
I don't care what you have to give him to do it. Do it.
And I would love, another thing I would love is if this is really going to be the last one, or probably for a while, we might say. A lot of the actors, that we love, like Dick Warlock, George P. Wilbur, I would love to see them all the actors that played Michael, have some kind of cameo in the movie.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good thing, because a lot of them are older and, they're retiring, and it would just be nice to see them featured in some way in the movie. I think that would be a good thing.
Now that would be a way to do this too. Have a scene in a cafe, and sitting at the table was John Carpenter, Dick Warlock, George P. Wilbur. That would be something.
Yeah.
And even Tom Atkins. Have them sitting together at a table. Why not? It's wishful thinking on our part, but it would be fun to see.
Yeah, and it would be a nice respectful wink and nod, because they had the Silver Shamrock masks in Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, and which we saw them get slayed beautifully in Halloween Kills. But I think that would be something cool if they had all the actors that played Michael somehow appear. And I loved your idea to have them all sitting, casually at a table or something together. That would be great. I would love that.
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
But I think too that now if there's an antique shop, don't let Barnabas Collins anywhere near it.
No, 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 no.
Help bring the gasoline.
Yes.
Oh shit! Oh my god! It's crazy, but I do think I'm trying to think if there's any other cameo I'd like to see, and I don't think so, but I do think those would be really good though. Like if they could get them all together, it would be nice.
Yeah, I think so too.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I think I'm good, man. I've had a blast being here talking this with you.
I know this is fun. We'll have to come back next week and do this again. I'll tell you what we gotta get into is we have to do 2018.
Yeah.
We need to do 2018. That way we can discuss Sartain's demise.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh my god. I will say this. That's the one character I wish they would have let live instead of Hawkins. Because I feel he had more of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But that's something we can get into, which will be really fun. And then we can discuss the trailers next week, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, for my buddy Mark Gillman, thank you, my friend. You are awesome.
Thank you. So are you.
And it's been fun. You have a great night, buddy.
You too. Bye-bye.